why keep drumming on about these top tips? The holiday season is busy for everyone. Remember, it's always worth evaluating what went well over the last year's holiday period and what you could have done differently. What is your motivation? Are you over the next few weeks? Is it about keeping busy, keeping at work? And what's motivating you? And what do you need to do to make sure that you get through this holiday period without too many traumas? If you are celebrating Christmas, you may want to look at different ways of decorating the house. We traditionally spend ages putting these decorations up, but not only do they take ages putting decorations up, they also take some time taking down. And some of the positions that we have to get into affect our shoulders, our backs, because they're not good. So there are things that will help you. Pop up Christmas trees that are easy to decorate. Lots of people have moved into decorating the outside of their houses with fairy lights and Christmas tree lights and things like that. If you can't get up there, but you miss that sort of thing, then perhaps getting one of these outside lamps that project onto the house is really helpful. And once again, if you can't put your lights inside the house, then maybe using some of these different devices that will project lights into the room, you may find helpful. Get smart at wrapping presents. You don't have to spend ages wrapping lots of complex presents these days. There are numerous bags, bottle bags and things out there that people can use. And just remember the amount of waste and the effect that has on the ecosystem. We spend a lot of time on expensive wrapping paper that actually is only used for a few minutes or hours and then sits in our bins to go to the local waste disposal. So some of the other tips, you can reuse some of the foil bags. And every year, if I get a bottle in a bag, I always keep those bags and recycle them for following years. Take a news break. Our mental health is definitely affected. And I know last winter we were hit bad with COVID, and the constant messages and bad news about COVID really did affect people. But it's really good to take a break from bad news, and it may be just switching off news feeds on your phones or on your iPads, or trying to limit the amount of time you listen to bad news on television, because people who connect with others and perhaps having conversations with family, friends is definitely better than perhaps just listening to lots of bad news. So keep in contact with family and friends. We've learned to Zoom more, we've learned to FaceTime more. These facilities have really brought families closer together, a bit more personal than perhaps just a telephone call. You can see people's face, and it's definitely better for people. Looking at holiday messages, and I always go back to, once again, a tip from a patient. Repetitively writing lots of cards, message cards, takes the strain out on definitely wrists, elbows, shoulders, and also posture in bed while you're sitting at the table. So perhaps moving to some e-cards, birthday cards, greeting cards, maybe Zoom timing people is a bit more personal. But also what my lady, one of my ladies does is over the years, she starts to build on her computer a family newsletter. And at this time of year, she'll send that with family photographs to her family and friends through electronically, and also maybe printing a few copies off her elderly family who don't have access. But it's perhaps a bit better than just a card where you repetitively just write best wishes from the family. Also, I've moved away from sending lots of cards to family and friends and donating that money to organisations that I work with. Is a worthwhile of my money rather than spending lots of money on cards and postage. Another way is remembering to relax. Sometimes there are scents that allow us to different way of relaxing. It may be lavender if you've got a pleasant memory of the smell of lavender. But at this time of year, citrus fruits, chestnuts, different smells will help bring around that holiday season smell. They talk about a lot of this cold scent from snow, and you always wonder what they mean. But there is definitely a different scent in the air when there's cold snow around and the atmosphere around us. And there are other things that may help us. Wood fires, definitely some people find that smell really relaxing. And if you've got that fireplace going, that rip-roaring fire really does bring in the smell as well as the warmth. This time of year, do get out and get some fresh air. We know with COVID, once again, we've been restricted from getting out there, but there's no reason why people shouldn't get out there and get a bit of fresh air. Doing a nice brisk walk around the local area, perhaps in a park, getting out there and giving fresh air is important. If you can, if you are coped up with family in the home over a period of time, just opening the doors and letting a bit of gust of fresh air will help. We know the benefits of fresh air. It makes your heart rate better and your blood pressure drop a bit. It makes you feel happier. There's evidence around strengthening the immune system and keeping those lungs, getting some of the rubbish that our lungs get bedded down with by sitting indoors, maybe with people who are smoking around us or even vaping around us, that then gets rid of, having some fresh air clears the lungs. Having a nice deep breath on the doorstep helps. And we know that fresh air helps with general energy and a sharper mind. We've mentioned this before, but this winter we're already hearing of the concerns raised by the government about the seasonal flu in addition to COVID. And it's important that people do take the advice of the government. Trying to make sure you've had your seasonal flu and your third COVID vaccine, especially if you're immunosuppressed, is important. But don't forget, stay away from family and friends who've got symptoms of cold. I'm still wearing a mask. I've been triple vaccinated, but when I'm out and about, I'm still wearing a mask. I'm still using alcohol gel to protect myself and also my family and friends and my patients that I'm working with. Don't forget, this period of time, children get quite hyped. There's lots of hype about getting in, opening presents and things like that. But sometimes you can't keep up with that hype, and actually having an opportunity just to calm the children down, maybe using a jigsaw, using some old traditional fun games, snakes and ladders that they may have not ever seen before. Christmas bingo is really important. And once again, my own reflection on this, every Christmas we have my goddaughter and a friend round, and actually just going back into playing Cluedo was amazing for them. They'd never played Cluedo before, and they absolutely love playing Cluedo now. This is away from the iPads and just takes away the stress of having to be active and keeping them occupied for long periods of time. If you are into cooking and you struggle, once again, a good idea is do a mince pie challenge, maybe buy different brands of mince pie and see if the family can vote which is the most flavoursome, which is the nicest one to have is really useful. And also the families can bring them together to use different, you can ask each family to bring a different brand of mince pies and then do it as a blinded challenge to the family about identifying which one is the most flavoursome. If you are travelling over this period of time, remember that although you might say, well, it only takes me 2 hours to get somewhere or 3 hours or 6 hours, often that period of time is accentuated by the time preparing to leave, leaving and arriving can be in more hours, and you can find that quite stressful, not only on your joints if you're sitting in positions for long periods of time, but also if you're carrying luggage. So do look at how you can break that up and try and minimize the stress that may cause on the body. The family lunch, I wouldn't necessarily advocate that you go to an all-in-one pre-cooked dinner. They're not so nutritious maybe, but actually today there's so much out there that's prepared. Why spend ages preparing sprouts, potatoes, carrots, when you can get them at reasonably pre-priced, pre-packed, prepared. But also, I learn a lot from family and friends, and the American supper model is quite exciting really. Agreeing with family and friends, if you are having a party over this holiday period, perhaps different people bring different things. So on the day, you're not spending so much time doing all the prep or the day before doing the prep, which prevents you from enjoying the family lunch.